Hello and welcome to the Maximo IT with ManageIQ Integration. This is a demo video on how to configure the system, your Maximo IT system for this integration, and we'll be going through a use case that shows this functioning. So in this video, we're going to cover Manage IQ overview, and then we're going to see how Maximo IT will work with Manage IQ. What all we will be seeing, and then we'll be seeing how the user can manage cloud providers by integrating Maximo IT with Manage IQ. And finally, then we'll see how to make this possible, what configuration needs to be done. And then at last, we'll see a use case when everything is configured and how the whole thing works. So to start with, we'll understand what ManageIQ is. So ManageIQ is an open source management platform for hybrid IT, which means it can help a user to manage large environments, and it can support multiple technologies. By multiple technologies, it can be anything that the user wishes to use. For example, in this case, we'll be focusing on virtual machines, although it can be public clouds, containers, anything. So we'll showcase how virtual machines are used here. Okay. And also Manage IQ, once it is integrated with your Maximo IT and AWS, you will be able to perform three basic actions that are as follows. So first is automated VM provisioning. So once your Maximo IT is integrated with Manage IQ and AWS, you will be able to create a request for an AWS EC2 instance. You can do this with the help of Maximo IT using the self-serve application. So once you do that, Manage IQ will create an instance in the service provider. In our case, we are using AWS. This would be based on the details requested by the user in their service request, right? So this is one. Second is the automated VM instance start. So the user can also create a request to start the AWS EC2 instance from Maximo IT using self-serve. Here, the user will be sending a request, a service request to start a VM on AWS. Okay. So what ManageIQ will do is it will start the instance in the AWS, again based on the requested details. And the third one is automated VM instance stop. So you can create a request to stop the AWS EC2 instance from Maximo IT using self-serve. The same way we started the machine, you can also stop it. And ManageIQ will again stop your instance, and it will do that based on the requested details. So once integrated, these three use cases can be executed by the Maximo IT user. So let's try and understand the integration flow, what is happening inside Maximo IT and your Manage IQ, and how is this thing working. So considering this pictorial representation, we can see these are the users, these are the requests. So we mean these are the Maximo IT users that are requesting these instances. So these are the requests that they are making this service request with the help of an offering catalog that is available to them in the self-serve application, right? So inside the service request, opening a service request, they find this offering catalog which gives them these three options: to provision VM, to stop VM, or to start a VM. So once they select it, they submit it via this service request to the system, right? The next step would be it would take two approvals. One is from the line manager and another one is from the fulfillment manager. So once these two approvals are granted to that Maximo IT user, the demo user, then uh, it can fetch the offering attribute feed to Manage IQ using REST API, and an automation script is launched. When that is done, the service request that passes to Manage IQ, and there from there on, Manage IQ does execute this service request by feeding it to the provider instance. But in this case, we're talking about AWS, although it can be anything, your VMware, OpenStack, any cloud provider that the user wants to access. So it can be anything. So it manage IQ, it feeds the request and it starts working on what has been asked by the user. Meanwhile, manage IQ also passes on the updates to the Maximo IT users, like what is happening, how far the request is, like that. So once it has the approvals, like for example, it has the approval for the line manager, etc. So in Manage IQ, it uses an HTTP response, which is, by using which it sends back the SR, the updated information on the SR. Like for in case of provision request, it also stores data in a file. You can view these updates, etc., in the log section in Maximo IT, right? And SR status and details, work logs, etc. Everything is updated. Meanwhile, Manage IQ is working on your request. It sends back you the updates, like what is happening and what is not. It does that with the help of like periodically launches automation scripts and puts the status of these requests, your service requests from Manage IQ. And of course, we're using cron tasks to get all this information, real-time information, like what is happening and what is not. So we are doing this via cron task, and it sends the information back to the user, like at what stage your service request is on. Meanwhile, of course, working on the request itself. Okay, so and further in the video, we'll first see how to configure this Maximo IT for this integration, and then we'll present to you a use case where we use this self-serve application to send a service request and see how we can get our VM started on the AWS via ManageIQ. Okay, so next we'll jump to our Maximo IT system and start with the configuration process. Okay, so we are inside our Maximo IT. So first step is to add a Manage IQ endpoint in Maximo IT. So for that, we will go to our application endpoints. You can find it under integration, and when you open the endpoints application, now here we will be creating a new endpoint. For example, here we have already created an endpoint with the name manage IQ underscore auth, that is authorization. So you can create one from using this one, common actions new endpoint, or from here. So when creating an endpoint, we will be mentioning this a name and a description, and the handler would be the HTTP. So we need to select HTTP and consumed by integration. Inside this, we need to put the HTTP method as get, and we need to give the URL of the machine that from which we are integrating, and then a username. So this is how we need to create endpoint. So meanwhile, we'll log into the Manage IQ. Okay, back to endpoint. So we created this endpoint. Now we need to create two domains. So for that, we go to Domains app. So AWS flavor will be defined here, which is like basically used for provisioning. So we'll be creating two domains here, that is AWS flavor and AWS templates. I've already created them. One, let's search for it, AWS flavor. So this is we define the flavor for the AWS by adding these the ALN domain values. So this is the EC2 instance flavor, AWS flavor. So this is saved. Another one is AWS template. This defines the name by which we are giving the AWS. So we're defining the values. So next we go to the cron offerings. Next we go to the cron task setup. Sorry. So we need to create a cron task. So I've already created one. This is manage IQ cron. Let's see. Manage IQ cron. Yes. So manage IQ cron. This is basically done for AWS EC2 provisioning. So to fetch the status of that provisioning, we create this cron task. So here, as you can see, in this cron task, we define all these things. These are the time is it runs in every 10 minutes. So time is set for 10 minutes, which is this can be changed. So selected as per need. And this is the class name. This is case sensitive. This is so there should be no spelling errors here. Should be kept uh, in mind. So this is the cron task. We have defined it here. So now we need to go to the offerings. We need to create 3 offerings for this. We go to the offerings app and we create 3 offerings. So here I've already created, one is start, one is stop, and one is for provisioning. So let's look at the start one. So MIQ start VM, stop VM, and provisioning. One more, see, yeah, provisioning. So MIQ provision IVM. So we first will look at this provision one. So this is the provisioning offering. Here you can create offerings by using this insert an offering. So all these things are defined here. Offering type will be set as service request, and all these like fulfillment time we are setting it for 30 minutes, and then all these. So go to these workflow. So we need a few approvals. First is the line manager approval. So we go to the workflow and select a value. So for line manager approval, you should always select LMD1, PMSC LMD1. You select that and go to the, you can also check the workflow. So you go to the workflow application, workflow designer. So inside processes, we can see that we have defined these nodes, start 1, stop 2. So these are just the nodes that we want to define. And when we click on a node, we can see the action, defined action below. So these are how the processes are defined for the offerings. So we go to the offerings, back to the offerings, and then we saw the line manager approval. Another one is fulfillment manager approval. For this, we select FMD1 always. And another one is fulfillment options. So fulfillment options, it's an important one. So you select a ticket template. So you can go to the ticket templates application from here only. So we define a ticket template. So as you can see, we are giving this description. This description is again case sensitive. So why is it case sensitive? Because this exact description is used for launch point. What is a launch point? So we are basically running automation scripts here. So these are the 5 automation scripts that we basically run for ManageIQ. So these will be given in the documentation. You can go and copy and from here. And these are basically the 5 automation scripts. So while starting or stopping a VM, we are giving a launch point. So when we give that launch point, we check the description, we enter this description there, we put a condition using this description. That is why it has to be accurate, right? So it is very case sensitive in that case, in that as seen like that. So the class is set to SR and the status should always be active, right? Now we will setting the internal priority as 4. Your customer can set per his or her need. So the status is active, and now we go to the specification and presentation task. So yeah, okay, we can also add the image. Like this is ManageIQ image. We added any image, you can add it from here using the this add or modify image from more actions. So going to the specification and presentation tab, we're giving this dialog. In this dialog, you can give the information about what the offering does. So like instance provisioning can be defined here. So and the say preview dialog, if you click on preview dialog, it will show what you have written. So some error, but yeah, it will show when you do it from the demo user. So now now going to the offerings. So we need to add 3 attributes here. Going down, you can use this add or modify attribute from more actions to add these 3 attributes. So when you click on add modify, so you see these attributes. You can use this plus icon and create these 3 attributes. So I will be showing one attribute we are creating is AWS AMI. This is the Amazon machine image. So this is ALN, alphanumeric type, and AWS template is the domain will be used for this to fill all these values while creating this attribute. Data type is ALN, and this is the description. So one is this. Another one is flavor. So inside this flavor, you need to add this data type again, a default value n, and VM memory, there's a default value of 1024 and a numeric. This will be kept as is. So these are the ones that you need to add, right? And so these are the domain names that we need to define. And now you need to make the offering active. So when the offerings are active, we need to add it to the catalog. So to do that, first we need to make a catalog. So once it is added to catalog, then only it will be visible to us. So now these offerings are created. This is the provision offering. Let's look at the start VM offering also, the two other ones. So first we can see how we add it to the catalog. So we go to the catalogs and you can create a new catalog. I've already created one, that is AWS ManageIQ catalog. Here, as you can see, there's no special conditions, just the status is active, item set is set to item set, and you go to the offerings and you can see I've entered all my three offerings here: provisioning, stop instance, and start virtual machine. All these are added here, right? So now back to the offerings. Let's look at the start and stop offering also. So here, let's look at the start offering first. It was from start, manage, yes. Okay, so start offering. This is the MIQ start VM offering. Here we add all these offering type and status should be active, and service request. This is the type of service request offering. So all the approvals and workflow, they will be quite same as the provisioning one, like we did in provisioning. So we're going to the ticket templates, and the ticket templates, again, this description is case sensitive. It should be used with set with caution so that we remember it. There should be no spelling mistakes, right? And then the internal priority, all these things, class SR active. So we go back, offerings, and then we need to, you can also add and modify image here also using more actions. And going to the specifications and presentation tab, you can again enter your long description and use the preview dialog to view it. Now we need to add one attribute here, that is VM name. So the description would be name of EC2 instance, because it is the name of your EC2 instance in AWS that you're giving. So you can add and modify attribute using this one. You can add this attribute here. So use the plus icon and then add. So I'll try searching here my attribute. I'll try to search name. It was VM name. VM. Oops, this was selected, so I will deselect it. Add, modify, filter, VM name, VM. Yes, so this one was our, so alphanumeric data type would be there, and all this, all the others, name of EC2 instance, all these are set. So this is our attribute, this is defined. So now you can also use your add on modify image. You can add an image also here and make it active, right? We're going back, list view. Now we will see the stop instance. Now again, this is made to stop Amazon EC2 instance. So all approvals are quite same. The line manager, fulfillment manager approval, and fulfillment options. We go to the ticket templates. Now here again the description. Class is SR, status is active, just like we did it in start one, and internal priority is set to 4, and we will return. So this is the description. You can provide the description, and one attribute needs to be there, VM name, just that it is for stop virtual machine. So now we run these automation scripts here. So we run 5 automation scripts basically. So for that we need to make them using the cron script. So automation script. So we go to automation script, and I've already created one. This is cron script. So cron script, so then VN provisioning is done. This cron script, it will bring logs to fetch its data for all the scripts that are run. So cron task will call the script every 10 minutes. The script that we enter here, it will be called every 10 minutes to execute that authoring. offering, sorry. So these automation scripts that are called in 10 minutes, or every 10 minutes, or the time that you set. So we need to create these automation scripts, right? So you can do it by here, create script. So first script that will be created, we'll be using for authorization, auth token. So one I've already created. You can create it from using create script, just normal script. So now we will just try creating a script like this auth token I've already created here. So you can create one and just enter this automation script. So these automation scripts, the five, these will be given in the this documentation. So you can go and copy from there and paste it in your Maximo IT and then use it. So these scripts, these are learned when we log into ManageIQ. So an authorization token is needed, which is like called by this script. These scripts. So one, let's look at one for authorization token. So yeah, for authorization token, this is done, and we can just copy paste it here, and then make our offering run. Right. So no launch points is defined here for the authorization. At least there is no launch point. So it is done. Now next we need to create for provisioning. For that we need an object launch point. So you will create using this script with object launch point. So now when I've already created for provision, so for provision you just define all these values and create one launch point, that is SR approve. So you go to this SR approve, more actions, you can create an endpoint, sorry, launch point. So now here this description, earlier we were noticing that these are case sensitive. This is why, because we are giving those description, we are putting a condition on them here. So there should be no spelling mistakes, otherwise this script won't be called later, and then we'll get an error and when our offering is not executed, right? So here, that is why we were very particular about this description. This is why, right? We are setting all these event save, etc. All these settings need to be done, and the scripts you can place here and then save it, right? So you have your first automation script ready for authorization and provision also, of course. So this is how all these automation scripts will be provided in the documentation, from where you can copy and paste into your Maximo IT UI, right? So now let's go back and we'll look at other more two, that is start and stop. So AWS VM start, first let's look at the start one, AWS VM start. Yeah, so this is the start one. Here also we define a launch point, and again we give the description for start virtual machine, the one that we created for start, right? So we give that, we want an update, and then you just save this, enter this automation script, go to automation script, copy the one for starting VM, start VM. This is authentication, this is, yeah, start VM, this one. So you can copy from here and paste it here, and then it's ready. Save it, right? Go to this. So let's look at this top also. It's entirely same, almost similar. Description, we give the stop virtual machine description here. As you can see, all these are same, and then we save it. Go to the automation script, go to the documentation, look for stop one, this is here, copy it and paste it here, and then save it and run it, right? So this is so our offerings are created. So we are inside the fields of application. You can view it from here. So we'll see how offerings are displaying here. So we'll go to the service request a new service, and IAM software deployment. And here we have a three offerings that we just created. Okay, so we'll start a virtual machine. We'll run this one. So we are inside start virtual machine. You can you copy paste the VM name that you want to start. For example, I'm in AWS and I'm copying this one. I want to start this VM back, and I'll paste this VM name here, and then I'll submit my request. So my request is submitted, and as you can see, the request is created. You can also see it in my items. Let me just refresh it, and it's here. Yeah. So we have a new request that we just created. So let's start giving the approvals. We are logging in as Max admin in Maximo IT, and you can see we have a manager approval. So click on this, and okay, and this is the service request that we created, and it requires approval. We have this on the start center. So I will see that this is the name, VM name. So I'll take action. I'll accept it. Okay. So it is accepted. Okay. So when we go back, as you can see, we can go back to the start center, uh, and you will see that this is also updated in this details tab. So we'll go to the start center and we'll see that this is also updated. And now I am logging in as PMSU user for fulfillment manager approval, right? So this is the start center, and you can see fulfillment manager approval is also requested. So I'll open this. Just like the last one, it will ask for the approval. So this is the service request. As you can see, it's in the approved by line manager state that we just did like in the previous step. So to approve this one, I'll take action. Okay. And fulfillment is also approved, and you can see the ticket is resolved because both approvals we have now. In the log section also, you can check out the what is happening. So since both approvals are there, so connection is closed and it is starting VM. As you can see, a VM, it is finally started, all connections closed. So this service request is through and it's starting VM. You can see it in the details also in log. So let's refresh here. And as you can see, it's in the pending state. It has already started. So this is how it works. So this is how we started this VM from Maximo IT using ManageIQ, of course. So, like we did this is a use case for starting VM. You can similarly do it for provisioning VM and to stop a VM. Using the same process, we would require two approvals from line manager and fulfillment manager, and then your request will be started. It will start executing. So from this video, now you know that how to configure Maximo IT integration with ManageIQ and how to enable this on AWS. We know the Maximo about Maximo IT and what ManageIQ does. And of course, we know about submitting requests to AWS for VM provisioning start and stop from self-serve via ManageIQ. So now you're ready to make this integration work and configure your Maximo IT for ManageIQ and AWS and or any cloud provider, and that too without any Java level code changes. So thank you. Thank you very much.